Have you ever felt like, whoa, am I ever going to catch up with this digital world?
Right.
I feel like the second I figure out one app, like three more pop-ups,
Yeah.
and then you start to think like, wow, digital literacy is so important these days, not just for, kids growing up with it, but for everyone, really.
It really is. It's becoming as fundamental as like reading and writing were. It's pretty fascinating when you think about it.
Yeah, like we're basically handing everyone a map and a compass, but instead of for the physical world, it's for this crazy digital landscape. And that's where I'm guessing a digital literacy teacher comes in, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I know you were looking at what RoleCatcher had to say about this. What's their take?
Well, they basically said that digital literacy teachers are kind of like guides, right? Mentors.
Okay.
They were there to help people not just use the tech, but understand it, critique it even,
Oh, interesting.
and then, of course, use it in a way that actually, benefits them.
I get it. So it's more than just like knowing how to use the latest phone or create a spreadsheet. It's deeper than that.
Way deeper. It's about like being able to spot misinformation, protecting yourself online. They even gave this example, like teaching students how to spot those phishing scams.
Oh, smart.
It really hit home for me how important this all is, even just to navigate, basic everyday stuff.
It's like that saying, give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, feed him for life or something.
Right, right.
But in this case, it's like teach someone how to navigate the digital world and you're set.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher actually says something similar. They highlight how big of an impact, a good impact, these teachers can have on people.
Okay, so what does a digital literacy teacher even do on a day-to-day basis?
Let's see. RoleCatcher said they usually design the lesson plans, obviously, then teach software skills, troubleshoot any computer issues.
You got to be pretty techie yourself.
Oh, yeah. And then they have to keep up with all the new tech and trends. The guide even mentioned that things like coding are becoming more important in the curriculum.
Whoa, coding for everyone? That seems like a huge shift. I remember trying to learn basic HTML back in the day, and it was rough. So I imagine these teachers need to be good at explaining tough concepts in a way that, like, anyone can understand.
For sure. RoleCatcher really stresses that need for patience, obviously, but also the ability to adapt and break things down clearly. They even said that empathy is a really important skill.
Empathy. I wouldn't have thought that for a tech-focused role. Tell me more about that.
Well, think about it. You can be working with people who have all different levels of comfort with technology.
True.
Some people might be intimidated by computers or get frustrated easily if they're not picking it up right away.
Yeah, totally.
So you need to meet them where they're at, understand what's holding them back, and guide them through those challenges.
That makes sense.
And that takes empathy. It's not just about knowing the tech. It's about building people up and creating a learning environment where everyone feels comfortable no matter what.
It really does sound like you need a good mix of like those classic teacher skills, but then also the tech know-how to be a digital literacy teacher. Like, I know for me, I learn best when someone can explain things simply and makes me feel okay asking questions.
Right. And RoleCatcher actually talks about that. They say these teachers are kind of like trailblazers in a way.
Oh, so?
Well, they're taking those old school teaching methods and combining them with all these new digital tools and stuff. It's pretty cool, actually.
And speaking of digital tools, RoleCatcher seems to be leading the way there, especially with that co-pilot AI thing they've got.
It's a trip.
It's like having a career coach in your back pocket, which is kind of wild.
I know. But I think what's really interesting is even beyond that specific tool, RoleCatcher really gets that using tech to make job searching easier is key.
Makes sense, since that's basically digital literacy in action, right?
Totally. It's all about making sure people have the skills to navigate this digital world, whether they're applying for jobs, going to school, or even just being part of their community online.
It's like they say, it takes a village. But these days, it's more like a digital village, and these teachers are building it up bit by bit.
Exactly. And they're not just teaching skill, they're also teaching people how to be good digital citizens. Like, what are your rights online? What are your responsibilities? That kind of thing.
Which reminds me of something else RoleCatcher mentioned, how crucial it is for these teachers to always be learning. Like, how do they even keep up with the tech world? It changes so fast.
They actually had some good tips for that. They said it's important to go to those conferences, and workshops and stuff.
Right, professional development.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And just being part of online communities where people share what they know. Oh, and trying out new tech on your own time. Just playing around with it.
So you got to be a lifelong learner yourself, always curious. Sounds kind of fun, actually.
It does. It's a good career for people who like a challenge, who like figuring things out and then sharing that with others. But it's not just about you growing as a teacher. It's also about this bigger idea of making sure everyone has access to technology and knowledge.
Oh, that's important. I know we talk about the digital divide a lot, but how do digital literacy teachers actually help bridge that gap?
Well, RoleCatcher says these teachers can work in all kinds of places. So yeah, you have your traditional schools, but also maybe companies doing training programs
Okay.
or nonprofits, even retirement homes, making sure that anyone who wants to learn these skills has the chance.
So basically, everyone gets a chance to be a part of the digital world no matter what.
Right. And that can change things, not just for one person, but for a whole community.
Hmm.
When people know how to find info online, connect with others, speak up for themselves, that makes society stronger overall.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it like that. So, RoleCatcher talks about different career paths within digital literacy. What are some of the options?
Well, like we said, a lot of them work in schools, right? But they also talked about corporate training programs, working for nonprofits, even being a freelance consultant. Lots of choices.
So, the skills you learn could apply to a lot of different jobs. That's good to know. What if someone wants to, like, specialize in one specific area of digital literacy?
They mentioned that too. Some people might focus on media literacy, making sure people can analyze what they see online, or digital citizenship, like we talked about, or even cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity. That's only going to be more and more important going forward, that's for sure.
Definitely. It just shows you how much this field is always changing and responding to what's happening in the world.
It really does sound like a career that's always pushing forward, always something new to learn. But what about the personal rewards? What do people find fulfilling about being a digital literacy teacher?
RoleCatcher said a lot of teachers find it really satisfying to know they're helping people navigate this digital world and to do it confidently.
Yeah, I bet.
They also mentioned how rewarding it is to see those aha moments when someone finally understands something and gets excited about it.
There's nothing like it. When you see that light bulb go off.
Exactly. And that's what being a teacher is all about, right?
Yeah.
Guiding people, supporting them, and helping them become the best digital citizens they can be.
It's amazing to think about the impact, you know? But let's be real for a sec. There's gonna some downsides, right? Like, it can't be all sunshine and roses being a digital literacy teacher.
Yeah, RoleCatcher admits it's not always easy.
What do they say?
Well, for one thing, you got to be okay with change, like all the time. Tech moves so fast, you're constantly learning, trying new stuff.
Yeah, I bet that gets tiring after a while.
It can. They actually mentioned burnout, said it's important to take care of yourself, set boundaries, and then there's a whole funding thing.
Ah, right. You need computers, software, all that.
Exactly. And that's not always easy to get, especially in certain schools or communities. So a lot of times these teachers end up having to fight for those resources.
So it's almost like they have to be advocates in a way.
Totally. They're fighting to make sure all their students have what they need to be successful in this digital world.
It's like they're not just teachers, they're change makers, you know,
Yeah,
really trying to make a difference.
absolutely. And they're shaping the future of education, how it's taught, who has access to it, all of that.
It's really inspiring when you think about it like that. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? We've talked about what it takes to be a digital literacy teacher, the challenges they face, and the incredible impact they have.
Yeah, it's been great.
It's clear that this is a career with a ton of potential, both for the teachers themselves and for all the people they teach.
I couldn't agree more. And for anyone listening who might be interested, do your research, check out the resources that are available. Maybe you'll discover a passion for it.
And on that note, we'll leave you with this. Technology's not slowing down, so how do we make sure these digital literacy teachers stay ahead of the game? How do we give them the skills and support they need to prepare students for whatever's next? It's something to think about, for sure. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.